All right, folks, we're almost there. We're getting there. We have waited so long. And if you can just make it about an hour, then you're going to be set for some football. Of course, we've been watching since Thursday night, but you LSU and Miami fans, I know that this is the pinnacle of your football season to date is watching these two teams get together. So we have tried to provide you as much analysis, discussion, and debate this afternoon as possible. So we've gotten the Miami side, the LSU side, and we're going to get a little bit more from the Canes here. We got the wholesome one lined up. Dwayne Holloway, how you doing tonight? All right.
It's time. It's war time, baby. It's war time.
All right. We appreciate the wholesome one joining us. And before we get started on some Canes talk, let everyone know where they can find you both on Twitter and on YouTube.
Okay, yes, on YouTube you can find me at the wholesome one, which is HOLSUM, the number one, Holloway. And on Twitter, you can find me at QBKiller_52. That's me.
All right, folks. Most of you know what the deal is here. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. I bring on the best bloggers, broadcasters, and writers in the industry, plus analysis from myself. As you saw over the past few days, from Thursday through Saturday night, I pretty much lifted the load myself in analysis of all the games I could get to. But appreciate the work of guys like the wholesome one here talking Miami football. All right, sir. We have talked this up in terms of this particular game and the entire season for the Canes for months and months and months and months. You know, is there anything that's happened just over the past few days to couple weeks, any news out of camp, anything that's kind of hit you in a different way that's made you think differently about this football team? Maybe not to a large degree, but giving you a little different slant on a particular unit, player, anything involved?
Well, the big news was N'Kosi Perry not being able to make the trip. Cam Underwood earlier kind of went into that. So check that video out for more in-depth of what actually happened, or, you know, what from our perspective and what the knowledge of what has happened. I don't know anything about it. From my understanding, it's just a one-game suspension from something that happened earlier in camp, and he had already knew about that going into the this upcoming season. I think the biggest thing for me is seeing Mark Richt, the coaches and the players, the level of confidence that they have going into this game and the level of excitement that they have. Of course, a big-time program like LSU, someplace that we can't disrespect, 30, 40, 50 years of, some up and down, but they're one of the top 10, 15, 20 programs historically, no question. You have to respect that institution. You have to respect their defense that they always bring. And at the end of the day, you have to respect the SEC conference, man. It's SEC football. And they have been top 3, top 5 for decades. But I think the confidence that Coach Mark Richt is just – he's oozing confidence. And I haven't seen that. This is the first time in his 3 years of being a coach here that going into a season, he's actually really, really excited about it. Talking about the depth that we have. These guys actually making big plays, which is something that in practice, which is something that he wasn't alluding to before. And the intensity that, these players talk about when they come in, because I think it has a different outlook on the season when you have players excited about a big-time game to start off the season. Sometimes you might have like your, no offense, your FAMUs or your Arkansas Southerns or, things like that to kind of get you warmed up into a season. We're starting with a haymaker first round, and they're going to come out slugging, and we're going to come out slugging. And I think the best team, the team that has the least amount of mistakes from the quarterback position will be the winner, whether it's LSU or Miami. Of course, I got Miami, by 10. That's 10 plus. That's my opinion. But
so wholesome one, you delivered a perfect segue when you mentioned a haymaker followed by another haymaker and a bit of a scuffle, because that's what we had a few minutes ago. So do you know anything about that? Somebody on here, I believe William Lee, referenced that as well, and it's something you mentioned to me before we struck up the live chat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, hey, it's Miami, baby. That's what we do. Now the only thing is, let's fight on the field. You know, let's show up this time, because last time we had a scuffle with LSU, 40-8 or 40-3. I forgot what the score was. And they blew us out, and we waited until after the game to show up with a fight. You know, it was a little scuffle because, according to what the tweet that I was reading, the DBs were practicing on our side of the field, warming up on our side of the field, and that's what made our wide receivers go over there. And then it turned into, you know, both teams just rushed to the middle of the field, and they'll probably have that on the ABC, you know, pregame preview. They'll have that on the kickoff. Oh, it'll be hyped up, man, and that's what I like to see, because, you know, under Al Golden, things like that wouldn't happen. We would just be like, okay, you can talk smack to us, you can push us around, you know, we'll shake your hand before and after the game, and hopefully everything's okay. Nah, this is the U, man. We don't play like that, man. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a good one. I'm excited.
The old Al Golden era at this point seems like it was about 20 years ago. It just seems like it's a distant memory.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I would love to see, you know, what's your opinion on that, Mark, being someone who, we know who your favorite team is, Ohio State, you know, but you're kind of a global guy, you know, what's going on across the whole country. So when you saw a guy like that, how did you take it? You know, what was your outlook on it?
I'm sorry, Wholesome One, you froze up right at the time when you were spitting out your point there. when I saw what?
When you saw that Miami hired a guy like Al Golden, how did that, you know, that message come to you, or how did you feel about that?
Okay, so we're going back quite a few years, but my thought, I believe at the time, was, okay, point number one is that, yeah, we see examples of up and comers getting hired by big programs all the time, and maybe it doesn't appease the fan base, because the fan base at a place Miami wants to know that they're receiving delivery of a coach who has already proven to be capable of the job, capable of the expectations, strong enough, solid enough, knowledgeable enough, and heavy enough to take on that job, knowing full well what the expectation is and what the pressure is. But you've got a number of programs that I respect out there that have gone down to the coordinator level or the group of 5 head coaching level and have been able to find the nugget of gold, the diamond in the rough, the guy that is going to be the next star in the coaching ranks. And Al Golden had shown me enough at Temple that showed, okay, he knows how to run a program at that level and be successful. Maybe they're seeing a guy that that is ready for this kind of job. Now, number one, he showed us pretty quickly that he's not ready for that type of job, and it's been almost impossible, virtually impossible, for him to follow that up with another big-time gig. So that has scarred his reputation and his brand for maybe for the rest of his coaching career. And also, number two, there's a difference in coaching at Temple and Miami, not the X's and O's on the field, but in terms of being able to deliver on the promise of the expectation, and also showing yourself in the locker room to have the credibility that you're going to have that level of athlete believe in you, that you're the guy to lead us to the promised land. And he was never that convincing from that standpoint. So I thought at the time, okay, maybe they know something I don't, but this isn't the kind of hire that I would expect Miami to make.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, I was like 13, 14. It was like 2011, right, when we hired that guy. Yeah, man, it was almost 10 years ago. God, wow, time flies on us. It was a hire at that time. I was just a fan, you know. I didn't know. I figured, hey, these people get paid to hire people. They must know what they're doing. He's a Miami Hurricane now. You know, just like when people get drafted in the NFL, you know, I probably didn't want that prospect, but once we draft him, that's our guy. That's us. He's a part of us now. And the Al Golden era was tough, man. And I think that's what makes us appreciate the Mark Richt switch so well. You know, a lot of people kind of bash him for his offensive play calling. I get that. I understand. But to see a guy who was there at a SEC program for 15 years, ran it correctly, ran it the right way. We didn't really have any, I don't even know, to my knowledge, any scandals that happened at UGA while he was there. God-fearing man, that might be the next thing for some recruits. They like that. And he's a coach that they could trust. And now he's coming to his alma mater and not being able to ever really get over the hump at Georgia. So all of that, to me, made the hire of Mark Richt 10 times better. Coming off a double-digit win season, and he won the big game to me. And the big game was Notre Dame last year. As you saw this past weekend, Notre Dame is no slouch, especially at Notre Dame. Because, in 2016, we lost there by 1 point. That's not an easy game, to go into at Notre Dame. Just wanted to get your opinion on that, how you felt about the Al Golden Mark Richt kind of thing going.
Yeah, so we'll move it ahead to 2018. Don't want to get stuck back there, but I was the one that went back there to a certain degree. So has there been anything under the Mark Richt tenure that has not pointed you in the positive direction? It sounds like generally you're there on board. Obviously, he took over a program that was playing like a top 30 or 40 program, and he quickly elevated you to a top 25 status, won a big bowl game a couple of years ago. And when I say a big bowl game, I'm not talking about Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl. I'm talking about it was a big game for the program, considering losing all those bowl games and having that bowl drought for that long, playing a top 15 West Virginia team and going out there and dominating and capping off a decent season with a 9-4 finish, and then coming into the next season, and despite the slide at the end, winning the Coastal, finally getting that monkey off your back. So he seems to be shedding monkeys off the back of, got the bowl win, got the division championship. The recruiting, has just increased exponentially. It was good. Even Al Golden couldn't completely screw that up because there's just too many players walking on every street corner down in South Florida. So it's impossible to completely screw up the recruiting. But he did maximize it the way Mark Richt has. But has there been anything that has caused any level of concern or anything that you don't quite like at this point?
No way about the way the program is being ran. I mean, we had a camp before with Al Golden. I attended the Al Golden camp before, and it was, amazing to see all of that talent there. I was there with Trent Harris and Treon Harris and Chad Thomas and Trevor Darling and guys like that. We were all in the same camp, class of 2014, coming out of high school. We were all there together, and it didn't have the buzz that Paradise Camp has. I mean, it's kind of like, not to mention that school up in Gainesville, but I mean, everyone in the state of Florida loves Friday Night Lights. Whether you're going there or not, to be able to attend and get that invite to go, it's a big thing. But now Mark Richt has brought something with Paradise Camp to where we're pulling guys from California to come to these events, Texas, Detroit and Michigan to come down and go to these events. And the way that he's running it is got that up in a year. If that, put in $1 million of his own money, help fundraise. And then it actually is matching up with wins. Just like you said, it's a bunch of check marks of things that we haven't done that Al Golden has. I made a video on my channel called I Appreciate Mark Richt, because I saw a couple people on YouTube making videos bashing this guy. And I'm saying, hey, sometimes the grass isn't green on the other side, man. You bring in a Lane Kiffin just because he has a great offense and everybody's happy about what he could do. 3, 4, 5 scandals could drop out of nowhere, Not saying he would do that, but a guy who has proven that he would not do that, I would much rather bring in a guy like that. So I love the way he's running the program. I think he should give up the offensive play calling, give it to Thomas Brown, because that guy is young, aggressive. He relates to the players. And he has recruited every single running back that is there, except for Treon Gray, who's a 5th-year senior. He has recruited and brought in all of those guys. So they have a connection with him. And I think a young, energetic coach relaying to the players and actually being one of our top recruiters, being a coordinator is huge in college football at this time. So that would be the only thing I would say that needs to change. But besides that, and I'm not even being a homer, but besides that, Mark Richt has done a great job as our head man, CEO.
Football, as is the case with most sports, is about matchups. So you might have the better team that's going to go out and play a schedule and finish with a better record than the team that you're playing today, but they might have a better pitcher on the mound. They might have a score that you can't deal with in basketball. You don't have anybody to match up against him. You might have a difficult matchup with their style of offense, their style of defense. So the one thing in play that I think might be difficult for Miami is that LSU pretty formidable as always along the defensive front. And if they can be extremely disruptive in the Miami backfield and take advantage of what has not been a good offensive line, it's gotten better. It was better in 17 than it was in 16 than it was in 15. And you'll be able to speak to this much better than I can because I watch 5 or 6 games and then I move on to the next game. You watch 13 games and then you watch it over and over and over and study it.
Right.
And personnel is that just LSU making life difficult for Malik Rozier and company for him to get the ball out to the playmakers might be LSU's best path to victory.
Most definitely. I 110% agree with that. And that's something that I think when fans get on here and we have conversation, we might not really think about all of the interest, like the little things that go into the sport. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is from the center to the right and left tackle at the end of the day. And that's on both sides of the ball in the trenches, man. You know, your 1 and 3 techniques and your edges, but in LSU's case, a 3-4 defense, you know, your nose, your 2-4 eyes, and your outside linebackers. And they're LSU. They're gonna have guys up front that can play. But Miami has actually started to recruit and develop guys that can do the same. And that's why I think it'll be haymaker for haymaker for haymaker for probably that first half. Nowhere has I said we're going to blow LSU out, even when I get hyped, because at the end of the day, I understand that the game is still their respectable program. And these guys from Louisiana, they play hard-nosed football also. And they do a lot of in-state recruiting. And these guys are going to want to fight for the pride of their state, you know, their institution, just like we take pride in South Florida, you know, the state of Miami, the U, we take pride in that, and they take pride in LSU. And I think that the development of guys like Tyree St. Louis, moving from right tackle to left tackle, the development and weight loss of a guy like Navon Donaldson, moving from right guard to right tackle, Tyler Gauthier, who's on the center watch list, you know, like I alluded to before, those 3 guys have in-game experience. 2 of the 3 have over 2 years worth of experience with Tyler Gauthier and Tyree St. Louis. Navon Donaldson started all last year as a true freshman who was the #1 lineman in the state of Florida. That's saying something. You know, #1 that we were even able to bring a guy like that in. Under Al Golden, we lose that recruiting battle to Florida. But we won the recruiting battle because Mark Richt made it important that we get this guy. And so, you know, we're kind of young at right and left guard. We're starting Corey Gaynor, who actually played a lot. Actually, he did pretty good. We're starting him at guard. And we're also starting the transfer. It's eluding me right now. The Tennessee transfer at right guard. Last name Jones, Jair Jones, excuse me. We got him starting at right guard. He's an older guy. So we have some experience as far as older players, but not in-game experience in the interior. And having Tyler Gauthier, who has a lot of experience at center, being able to help those guys, I think is going to really take it to the next level. Because this same O-line has been #1 since spring. So they have been able to play together all through spring practices and the spring game. Then they come in the summer and still had first team reps. So they were able to go all through training camp together, and now they're able to start, against LSU. So they have some chemistry, which is really, really important for the first game and at O-line.
We've got LSU in Miami on the marquee, front and center in the college football universe tonight on a Sunday night, and it's really a unique situation that LSU and Miami have tonight. That will be the same situation in Tallahassee tomorrow night with Florida State, Virginia Tech, because we don't get this the rest of the season because we've got Saturday games, and regardless of how big, let's say, the Florida State-Miami game is and how much of it's taking of the national audience that's focused on that game, there are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games being played at the same time. So College Football Nation's attention is diverted regardless of how big the game is. But this opening weekend, this doesn't happen until bowl play, where we have the entire nation. If you want to watch college football, you're watching Miami and LSU. That's all you can watch. And this is a unique situation on the opening weekend where the games are spread out over the NFL weekend that starts next weekend. So it's all LSU Miami, and this is time to make a statement, Wholesome One.
Yes, sir. It's time to show up, man. It's time to show up or shut up. And to be honest with you, as a Miami homer, as a Miami fan, born and raised in Miami-Dade County, I'm with everybody who's saying it's time to show up. The turnover chain last year had a huge, influence. Boise State has a turnover throne, which I think is kind of cool. Actually, it's a little something different. I think it's cool to do that. Then you have, Alabama's always had that belt, the championship turnover belt. We kind of have a trend-setting thing going on there. But that was while we were having a 10-win season. Just like, Cam alluded to earlier, and when we got the turnover against Clemson, it was kind of just like, all right, you got to go back on the field and score a touchdown. Even though it was early in the game and it was still a 7-0 game at that time. But it's a little bit different. It has a little bit more influence when it's a big turnover, huge turnover, going on. It's time to let the country know. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say the U is back, because when you say that, that means that the NCAA commissioner is handing us a trophy. That's what that means in Miami standards. Miami is relevant. I wouldn't even go that low because Miami's always been relevant. We're not USF or FIU. Even at 6-6, we'll still have 4 or 5 guys drafted in the top 4 rounds. So we're still a relevant institution. But when you talk about national dominance or national relevance, to where I can talk to a guy in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he'll know about the Miami Hurricanes and what game we have on that week. I can talk to a guy in Arizona and he'll know what's going on. That's what I mean by national relevance. We got to bring it back to the light. And just like you alluded to, this is the night to do so. LSU is a program that everyone knows about. Miami's a program that, somebody's dad or somebody's grandfather knows about. It's time to let the kids in this generation know about what this new you is all about, baby.
We are kicking around Miami and LSU just prior to the game with the Wholesome One. Dwayne Holloway, you can join him on YouTube, the Wholesome One. That's HOLSUM, Wholesome One on YouTube. You can find it right there if you put that into the search. Subscribe to his channel right there. Follow him on Twitter as well. I will throw this out to the live chat that if you guys would like me to come on at halftime and provide you guys an opportunity to kick it around on the chat room, and while I blab on about my analysis of the first half, I will certainly do that, but give me some feedback. Otherwise, I will be enjoying my snacks and time on the couch watching the halftime or doing whatever I'm going to do. But I will strike up the live stream. But certainly, there is no question that after the game, I will be right here after the game as soon as it goes to double zeros, or as I've seen from a number of Canes fans, a blowout of some sort. Then we'll jump on before the clock strikes 0 because we won't have meaningful play on the field. So with 4 or 5 minutes left, if it's out of hand, I'll jump on the live stream and we will talk up the final here with Miami taking on LSU. So, Wholesome One, there's something that comes into mind when I'm trying to predict this game or any game is that, yeah, there's some issues along the offensive front for Miami, and Malik Rozier showed us a Jekyll and Hyde because you talk about those guys between the left and right tackle being the most important as a unit on the field, and I would argue that with anyone, that the quarterback as a single player, there's no question he is the most important player on the field, but as a complete unit, the offensive line is the most important unit on the field. There were a number of times last year, we both know it, and you know it better than me because it probably still stings, that between the left tackle to the right tackle, those guys did the job, and then Malik Rozier was throwing one in the dirt on a slant to Braxton Berrios when it should have been out in front of him, and everybody on the offense did their jobs, and he had the protection. But if you don't have the guy to pull the trigger at the end, then it all goes for naught, and that just can't happen. Guys can't be perfect. We sometimes rate these poor college quarterbacks like they're Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. They can't be anywhere. They're going to misfire 5 or 6 times a game at least. But you just can't see that repeatedly, and you can't see it on 3rd and 5.
You hit it right on the head, man. You brought back a couple of bad memories with that one. Wow, yeah, that's one thing that Malik has to truly turn the corner on. He can throw the deep ball. We've seen him do, Jeff Thomas for the bomb, Amon Richards for the bomb, fade route to Lawrence Cager. But this is something I alluded to on my channel. This kid is all about confidence. He is all about confidence. He threw 3 interceptions against Virginia Tech. And I don't know if anybody noticed this because it was an after-game interview, but it's something I really critique and listen to how he responds. He said he's coming off the field, throwing his 3rd interception, like back-to-back-to-back drives. Shaq Quarterman, one of our leaders on defense, walks up to him as they're going past each other and says, "Man, don't worry about it. They're not going to score. Just when you come back out here, make sure you just don't turn it over. We got you, but they're not going to score." And Malik said that at the end of the game when they interviewed him afterward, and he said he's in Miami's past, his years there, it wasn't like that. There wasn't a chemistry and a true love for each other to where something like that would not be said after a mistake on offense. This kid has been getting, look at me saying kid, and I'm 22. Wow. This guy has been getting bashed by our fans for almost a year now. Trailing with about 280 days or something. He's been getting, he sucks. Get him out of there. He's this, he's that. This is the time that I truly believe he's going to make 2 or 3 plays in this game that is going to sway a lot of those people. And it's going to be tough at first. He might fumble. It might be a strip sack. He might throw an interception. He might try to break and fumble. But is the coaching staff, are the players on the sideline, are the fans, is everyone going to start booing him and going to, push him down in the dumpster? Or are we going to next play, because we got a top 10 defense? I think Malik Rozier is going to show everybody tonight. And I truly believe that in my heart, man. We're going to get some guys in open field, DJ Dallas on the linebacker, Travis Homer on the linebacker, Amar Richards on Greedy Williams. Listen, I'm a wrestling fan. I cut promos all the time in the mirror. Greedy Williams is one of the best corners in the nation. Amar Richards is one of the best wide receivers in the nation. Tune in and watch this fight. 82-28. Listen, if you're watching anything on that field, look where Amar Richards is. And Greedy Williams is going to be right there following him. And whether it be to the slot, to the X, to the Z, he's following that guy. And it's going to be a haymaker. Ali Tyson, baby. Ali Tyson. It's on tonight, man. LSU Miami, baby. 30 minutes away. Oh, I'm about to start flipping tables, man.
And as a national guy that covers all the teams, the thing that intrigues me about LSU is they have so many unknown commodities out there. They've got the guys with the stars next to their names coming out of high school, but quarterback, running back, most of the wide receiver positions, aside from the Giles kid coming from Texas Tech with 69 catches and 13 touchdowns last year, the defense is tight, thin in the secondary. So LSU, Greedy Williams leading the way, very good in the secondary, but God forbid injuries hit them in the secondary. They're thin in the secondary. The other two levels of the defense are rock solid. Offensive line's good, although they lost the left guard Ingram, who was a top player for them last season. And again, quarterback, man, Joe Burrow, if he comes out and throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if he threw 3 picks and threw for $150 and was just a train wreck to a certain extent. Now, we'll most likely get a capable game out of him, but nothing dynamic and nothing on the train wreck coming off the rails. We'll probably get a decent showing from him. He's capable, he's talented, but he's not stepped on the field with live bullets when it mattered. He's been on the field at Ohio Stadium with live bullets when they're up 56-7 on Rutgers. That's a whole different deal than when the game and the shoulder and the pressure of the magnitude of the moment is on your shoulders to play decisive plays. And if it gets out in front of him in regards to a 14-3 Miami lead, then we may see a different quarterback out there. We may see Joe Burrow become a really good quarterback in games 7 and 8 and 9 and during his development this season. But what he needs to accomplish tonight is going to be a difficult task. For anybody out there, I'm finally going to make a call on this one. So I will say, and this might be the kiss of death, that I'm 12-5 against the spread this weekend. So check out the prediction videos. It's all time stamped, so that can be verified. 12-5 against the spread's not bad. I've got Miami winning this thing 27-20. I just looked up the spread, wholesome one. In addition to the point spread being Miami -3, I hit this right on. We'll see what happens, but the over/under for the point total on the game is 47, and I went 27-20. I just looked at it, and it's 47. So I'm right in step with Vegas for whatever that's worth.
I like it. I like it. It's a little close for my heart and for my blood pressure, young blood pressure. But at the end of the day, I take W's, man. I don't care if it's 3-2. I would love to see a 20-27 game. At the end of the day, like I keep saying, these are two good programs, man. A good game, quality game. Good players on both sides is what the nation wants. Of course, as Miami fans or LSU fans, or it's going to be 48-0 or something like that. But at the end of the day, those things are unrealistic. These coaches get paid for a reason. These players practice for a reason. It's going to be a good game. At the end of the day, I personally think it'll be close at halftime, and maybe Miami's depth and experience depth, because LSU has depth as far as young 4- and 5-star guys, but they're freshmen, and at some key spots, like next to Greedy Williams at linebacker. They just got that corner who just came off of that suspension. Who knows where his conditioning is? Has he been able to practice? I don't know the answer to those types of questions. They lost a lot in the free safety, strong safety area. They're going to be young at offensive line tonight. Wide receiver guys, like you alluded to, we're not knowledgeable of what they can bring to the table. But that doesn't stop them from, this is a big stage. Show up. If you're that good, show up. And I think this is when the cream rises to the top. I know it's the first game of the season, and you might be some first game jitters, which is why I think it'll be something like 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, 10-7 halftime, 14-17 at the end of the third quarter type of game. And then I think Miami will pull away in the fourth quarter with our experience and being able to kind of pick them apart. And that's kind of funny saying that with Malik Rozier picked them apart. But I think our run game we'll be able to kind of lean on them. Having that speed, run sideline to sideline. Are they going to be able to kind of hang with us in coverage, man coverage? Maybe we'll catch them in man coverage and miss a tackle or two and take it to the house. But I can't wait to tune in, man. I'm glad I came on because then it made the time go a little faster because I was in here jittery and shaking. I even got on my coaching sideline polo here. I'm about to put on my lucky hat, man, and we're gonna get after it. I'm excited, man. I hope everyone tunes in, whether you're a Miami fan, an LSU fan, or not. Tune in, baby. It's college football. It's the best sport out there.
So I know everyone's excited about the game, but if you can give Wholesome One and myself one click of the mouse, you go to Wholesome One on YouTube and subscribe right there for the best in Miami football coverage. And when I say the best, I say that about a few different contributors that I have. What I mean is that it's quality. It's a different angle from him. He really breaks down the personnel, breaks down the schemes, breaks down different variations of the matchups that is intriguing throughout the offseason and now that we've gone into the season of 2018. For me, like, comment, subscribe. Again, give me a click on the like and the comment. Leave your thoughts about the game. And, of course, subscribe. You will not be disappointed with the discussion, the debate, the analysis of college football right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. What I believe I'm going to do at halftime is just leave this up. I'm going to send a link out, a notification for halftime. I don't know if I'm going to say a word, but I'm going to leave it there for you to have a message board to take over the live chat and for you guys to fill up the live chat, talk to each other about what's happened in the first half. Then we'll be back at the end of the game as soon as we hit double zeros, or if it's a blowout, a little bit before that as the time ticks down, and we will bring final game analysis right there. All right, Wholesome One, we know that you're getting set for the game and may have a few last-minute things to do before they kick off, me as well, and we invite everyone back after the game. We appreciate it each and every time, man.
No problem, baby. Keep your eyes out for Gerald Willis, the guy I've been hyping up all summer. Even Mark knows I've been saying this guy's name all summer. Gerald Willis, number 9. Joe Jackson, 99. Jonathan Garvin, 97. Shaq Quarterman, 55. Mike Pickney, 56. Jaquan Johnson, number 4. Mike Jackson. The defense, man. Watch out for the defense, man. It's going to be a movie. And Travis Homer, a friend of mine, I sent him a nice message before the game. He might not have seen it because he's just ready to go after it. He'll see it after the game, man. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Mark, for having me on. And at the end of the day, it's always about this you, baby.
And we've got a final word from our guy, NCIS Fanatic 21, a personal note to you, Wholesome One. He is thanking you for the follow on Twitter.
Yay! No problem, brother.
All right. You guys enjoy the game. LSU Miami, athletes all over the field. Just take it in as a football fan. And for you Canes fans and Tigers fans, you're going to have to sweat it out. For the rest of us, we just enjoy another spectacle of college football. We'll be back after the game. Also a halftime live chat for you guys to talk it up for first half analysis. We will see you guys later very soon. LSU Miami, enjoy.